My phone exploded at 2:47 a.m. with a number I didn't recognize. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something made me answer. A woman's voice hit me like ice water, shaking, crying, barely holding it together. "Mr. Harrison, this is Rebecca from Gene Tech Labs. I could lose everything for this call, but please, I'm begging you, don't go home tonight. My name is Marcus Harrison. I'm 42 years old, a high school history teacher in suburban Ohio. I've got a decent life, a wife I've loved for 15 years, and a beautiful 13-year-old daughter named Sophie. Nothing special, nothing crazy. Just normal." But Rebecca's voice wasn't normal. It was pure terror. "What are you talking about? What's wrong?" My heart was already hammering against my ribs. "Your DNA results came back. I processed them myself. Sir, I'm not supposed to see what I saw, and I'm definitely not supposed to call you, but—" She choked on her words. "You need to meet me tomorrow before you do anything. Before you go home. Before you talk to anyone." My wife Jennifer stirred next to me, mumbling something in her sleep. I slipped out of bed and went to the bathroom, closing the door. "Rebecca, you're scaring me. Just tell me what's going on." "I can't. Not over the phone. They monitor calls. I have a daughter too, Mr. Harrison. I could go to prison for this. But what I found, you deserve to know before the official results arrive. Meet me at the Riverside Diner tomorrow at noon. Come alone. Please." The line went dead. I stood there in my bathroom, staring at my reflection in the mirror. 3 weeks ago, I'd submitted my DNA for a simple ancestry test. Jennifer thought it would be fun, maybe find some distant cousins, trace our roots. It was supposed to be harmless. Why would a lab employee risk her career to warn me about ancestry results? I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I kept looking at Jennifer sleeping peacefully, her blonde hair spread across the pillow. I thought about Sophie, probably dreaming in her room down the hall. What could a DNA test possibly reveal that would make someone say, "Don't go home"? Hey, if you're watching from somewhere in the world right now, drop a comment and let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you're already hooked on this story, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe, because what happens next is going to blow your mind. The sun came up. I went through the motions of breakfast. Jennifer kissed me goodbye before heading to her nursing job. Sophie rushed out to catch the school bus. Everything looked normal. But I kept hearing Rebecca's terrified voice, "Don't go home." 3 months earlier, life was exactly what I'd always wanted. Jennifer and I had met in college. She was pre-med, I was studying history. We fell hard and fast. She had this laugh that could light up a room, and she made me feel like I was the only person who mattered. We got married young, maybe too young according to some people. But we made it work. Jennifer became a nurse practitioner. I got my teaching job. When Sophie was born, I thought my heart might actually explode from happiness. Sophie looked exactly like Jennifer. Same blonde hair, same green eyes, same smile. Everyone said it. "She's her mother's twin," they'd say at school events and family gatherings. I loved being a dad. Teaching history to teenagers could be rough, but coming home to Sophie's hugs made everything worth it. We had traditions: Friday movie nights, Sunday morning pancakes, summer road trips to national parks. Jennifer worked long shifts at the hospital, sometimes overnight. She'd come home exhausted, but she never complained. We were partners. We had our arguments like any couple, but nothing serious. Nothing that ever made me question us. About 6 months ago, I noticed Jennifer seemed distracted. She'd be scrolling through her phone and jump when I walked in. She started picking up extra shifts. When I asked if everything was okay, she'd smile and say she was just tired. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? Then came Thanksgiving dinner at her parents' house. My father-in-law, Robert, had too much wine and started talking about genetics. He'd just done one of those DNA tests and discovered he was more Irish than he thought. "Marcus, you should do one," he said. "See what you're made of. Might explain why you're so stubborn." He laughed at his own joke. Jennifer's face went pale. Just for a second, but I caught it. "Those tests aren't always accurate," she said quickly. "Waste of money." Her mom agreed a little too eagerly. Complete waste. But Sophie, sitting next to me, got excited. "Dad, let's do it. It would be so cool to see where we came from." I ruffled her hair. "Sure, kiddo. Why not?" Jennifer excused herself to the bathroom. She was gone for 10 minutes. I ordered the test that night. It arrived a week later, 2 simple cheek swabs. Sophie and I did ours together, laughing as we rubbed the swabs inside our mouths. "We're probably boring old English and German," I joked. Jennifer watched from the doorway. I didn't see her expression then, but looking back now, I remember. She looked like someone watching a car crash in slow motion, powerless to stop it. I sent the samples off. 3 to 4 weeks for results, the package said. What innocent thing had I just set in motion? The Riverside Diner was nearly empty when I walked in at noon. Rebecca sat in the corner booth, a laptop bag clutched against her chest. She was younger than she sounded on the phone, maybe 30, with dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept either. I slid into the booth across from her. I'm here. She looked around nervously, then pulled out a folder. Her hands were shaking so badly the papers rattled. I've worked at GeneTech for 6 years, she whispered. I process hundreds of samples every month. I'm not supposed to look closely at results, just verify the data and pass it along. But your file? She swallowed hard. Something flagged in our system. An anomaly. What kind of anomaly? She opened the folder. Inside were printouts covered in graphs and numbers I didn't understand. Mr. Harrison, you submitted your DNA along with your daughter Sophie's, correct? Yes. We did it together. The system automatically checks for familial matches when multiple samples are submitted from the same address. It's standard procedure. Rebecca's voice cracked. Your results show that you share 0 DNA markers with Sophie. None. Not a single one. The diner suddenly felt like it was spinning. That's not possible. She's my daughter. Biologically, she isn't. Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. Mr. Harrison, there is 0 chance that you are Sophie's biological father. But that's not what made me call you. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. What else? She pulled out another sheet, this one with a different set of graphs. Our system also runs checks against our entire database for any DNA matches. It's how people find relatives they didn't know about. She pointed to a highlighted section. Sophie's DNA shows a 50% match with another sample in our database. A perfect parent-child match. Her mother. Jennifer. No. Rebecca looked at me with something like pity. Your wife's DNA isn't in our system. This matches with a sample submitted 8 months ago. She turned the paper around so I could see the name. I stared at it. Read it 3 times. It didn't make sense. It couldn't make sense. That's impossible, I whispered. The name on the paper was Derek Mitchum, my best friend since college, Sophie's godfather, the guy who'd been at our wedding, who came over for barbecues, who Sophie called Uncle Derek. Mr. Harrison, according to this DNA analysis, Derek Mitchum is Sophie's biological father. Rebecca's voice was barely audible. And there's more. We found another match in the database. A paternity test that was run privately through our lab 4 years ago, submitted anonymously. It confirmed Derek Mitchum is Sophie's father. Someone already knew. They tested it years ago. The folder slipped from my hands. Papers scattered across the table. I could lose everything for showing you this, Rebecca said. But I have a 6-year-old daughter. If my husband wasn't her real father and people knew but didn't tell him, I'd want someone to risk everything to let him know. You deserve to know before the official results arrived and before you walked into whatever's waiting at home. My phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. Hey honey, getting off early today. Making your favorite dinner tonight. Can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see me. After 13 years of lying to my face. How long had she known I would find out? Had she been planning something? Was that why she seemed nervous after Thanksgiving? There's one more thing, Rebecca said. The anonymous test from 4 years ago? It was submitted from your home address. Someone in your house already confirmed the truth. They've known for 4 years that Sophie isn't yours. But that was the worst part. The thing that made Rebecca risk everything to warn me. I sat in my car outside the diner for an hour, staring at nothing. My phone kept buzzing. Text from Jennifer, a missed call from the school secretary, a reminder about Sophie's parent-teacher conference next week. Everything was a lie. 13 years of my life built on a lie. I thought about Sophie's face. Her laugh. The way she hugged me when I picked her up from soccer practice. The father-daughter dances. Teaching her to ride a bike. Helping with homework. Every single moment suddenly felt contaminated. She wasn't mine. She was Derek's. Derek. My best friend. The guy I'd known since freshman year of college. We pledged the same fraternity, graduated together, stayed close even after we got married. He was Sophie's godfather, for God's sake. We'd chosen him together. How long had it been going on? When did it start? Before Sophie was born? After? My hands gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. The timeline started forming in my head like a horrible puzzle. Sophie was born 9 months after Derek's wedding. He'd married his college girlfriend, a woman named Amanda. Jennifer had been Amanda's maid of honor. I'd been Derek's best man. The reception had gone late. Jennifer and I had driven separately because she had an early shift the next morning. I'd stayed until 2 a.m., helping Derek and Amanda get to their hotel. Jennifer had left around 11. Oh God. 9 months later, Sophie was born. But wait, there was that private DNA test 4 years ago. That meant when Sophie was 9 years old, someone decided to check. Someone had doubts. Oh, Jennifer. Derek? Both of them? And they confirmed it. They knew for sure. And then they just kept lying to me. 4 more years of lies, watching me love a daughter who wasn't biologically mine, playing happy family while knowing the truth. If you're still watching, I need to know, are you feeling this the way I'm feeling it? Because this is where everything in my life shattered. If this story is hitting you hard, hit that like button and subscribe. And if you haven't already, do it now because you won't believe what I found next. I drove to Derek's office. He worked in insurance sales downtown. His secretary smiled when she saw me. Marcus, good to see you. Derek's with a client, but he should be done in. I'll wait. I sat in the lobby, my leg bouncing, my mind racing. What was I going to do? Confront him here? Beat the hell out of him? Call the police? For what? Being Sophie's real father? That wasn't a crime. The betrayal was the crime. The friendship I'd believed in. The trust. Derek's office door opened. He walked out with a middle-aged couple, shaking hands, all smiles. Then he saw me. For just a second, his smile faltered. Fear flickered across his face. He knew. He knew that I knew. Marcus, amen. What brings you by? His voice was too loud, too cheerful. Give me one SEC to finish up here. I stood up slowly. Derek's eyes tracked my movements like I was a wild animal. We need to talk, I said quietly. Now. The couple sensed the tension and hurried toward the elevator. Derek's secretary suddenly found something urgent to do in the break room. Sure, Derek said. Come on into my office. I followed him inside. He closed the door. Turned to face me. When? I asked. When what? Don't. My voice came out like gravel. Don't you dare play dumb with me. When did it start? Derek's face crumbled. He sat down heavily in his desk chair, his head in his hands. Marcus, when? His wedding night, he whispered. We were drunk. Amanda passed out. Jennifer was upset because you'd been flirting with one of the bridesmaids. It just happened. One night. One stupid, drunken night, and my entire life was a lie. Sophie, I said. I didn't know at first. Neither of us did. Jennifer thought she was yours. You never questioned it. Derek looked up at me, his eyes red. By the time we realized the timing, what were we supposed to do? You were so happy. Sophie was your whole world. That anonymous DNA test 4 years ago. That was you. He nodded. I needed to know for sure. The results came back and his voice broke. I wanted to tell you. I swear I did. But Jennifer said it would destroy you. Destroy Sophie. So we agreed to never speak of it again. Does Amanda know? No. God, no. We barely spoke after that night. It was one mistake, Marcus. One terrible mistake that spiraled into this nightmare. I wanted to hit him. My fists were clenched so tight my nails drew blood from my palms. But I couldn't move. I was frozen, drowning in rage and grief. Did you ever touch her again? Never. I swear on everything, never again. Does Sophie know? No. She has no idea. She loves you, Marcus. You're her dad in every way that matters. But I wasn't. Biology mattered. Truth mattered. And if Jennifer and Derek had lied about this for 13 years, what else had they lied about? I didn't go home that night. I checked into a hotel near the highway and sat on the bed, staring at the wall. My phone kept ringing. Jennifer, Derek, even Amanda started calling, which meant Derek had told her everything. I ignored them all. Around midnight, I started going through my phone. Photos, messages, anything that might show me what I'd missed. How blind had I been? I found old texts between Jennifer and Derek. Nothing obviously inappropriate, but reading them now with the truth in mind, everything looked different. Inside jokes I wasn't part of. Late-night conversations about that situation and keeping things stable. They'd been managing me, controlling the narrative, making sure I never suspected. I pulled up Facebook and started scrolling through years of photos. Birthday parties, holidays, random weekend gatherings. Derek was in so many of them. Always there, always smiling, always acting like the perfect godfather and best friend. In one photo from Sophie's 8th birthday, Derek was kneeling next to her while she blew out the candles. The angle of their faces. God, how had I never seen it? They had the same nose. The same shape to their eyes. I'd always thought Sophie looked exactly like Jennifer. But she didn't, not completely. She had Jennifer's coloring, but her features, the structure of her face, that was Derek. Everyone had been lying to me. Or maybe not everyone. Maybe they just didn't see it because they had no reason to look. I opened my laptop and started researching lawyers. Divorce lawyers. Custody lawyers. Family law attorneys. Could I even fight for custody of a child who wasn't biologically mine? I'd raised her for 13 years. I was on her birth certificate. I'd been her father in every way except DNA. But Jennifer had betrayed me. She'd lied for 13 years, every single day. How could I ever trust her again? And Sophie, God, Sophie. She was innocent in all this. She didn't ask to be born from an affair. She didn't deserve to have her world ripped apart. But she also deserved the truth, didn't she? My phone lit up with another call from Jennifer. This time I answered. Marcus, please just listen. How long were you going to keep lying to me? My voice was cold, dead. I never wanted to hurt you. You have to believe that. 13 years, Jennifer. 13 years of looking me in the eye and lying. I didn't know at first. I really thought she was yours. By the time I suspected, I was too scared to face it. And then when Derek got that test done and we knew for sure. Marcus, you were such a good father. Sophie adored you. I couldn't destroy that. So you destroyed me instead. Silence on the other end. Then crying, soft and broken. Where are you? She asked. Somewhere you're not. Are you coming home? Sophie keeps asking where you are. She's worried. Sophie. My little girl who wasn't my little girl. What did you tell her? That you had to help a friend. That you'd be home soon. Marcus, please. Come home. We can figure this out. We can go to counseling, work through this. Work through this. I laughed and it sounded insane even to me. You had an affair with my best friend and let me raise his child for 13 years while lying to my face every single day. What part of that do we work through? Sophie needs you. Sophie needs the truth. No. Jennifer's voice turned sharp, desperate. You can't tell her. She's 13 years old. Do you know what this would do to her? She'd hate me. She'd hate you for telling her. She'd hate Derek. Her entire world would fall apart. Her world is already built on lies. Marcus, I'm begging you. Whatever you decide about us, about our marriage, fine. But please don't tell Sophie. Not yet. Not like this. She's too young. I ended the call. But Jennifer was right about one thing. Sophie was innocent. And telling her the truth right now when I was this angry, this broken, it would be cruel. I needed a plan. I needed to think clearly. I needed to understand the full scope of what I was dealing with. So I called the one person I knew I could trust, my brother, James. He was a corporate lawyer, not family law, but he'd know who to call. Marcus? It's 1 a.m. What's wrong? Everything, I said. James, everything is wrong. And I need your help. I told him everything. The DNA test, the lab employee's warning, the confrontation with Derek, all of it. When I finished, there was a long silence. Holy hell, James finally said. Okay, don't do anything else tonight. First thing tomorrow morning, we're meeting with a lawyer I know. She's a shark, Marcus. She'll help you figure out your options. What if I don't have any options? What if I've already lost everything? You haven't lost everything. You're hurt, you're angry, and you have every right to be. But you're not thinking about the nuclear option yet, are you? What nuclear option? Telling Sophie you're not her biological father and walking away from both of them. The thought had crossed my mind. Just disappear. Start over somewhere new. Let Jennifer and Derek deal with the mess they'd created. But even thinking it made me feel sick. Because despite everything, despite the betrayal and the lies and the rage burning in my chest, I loved Sophie. I'd raised her. I'd been there for every milestone, every skinned knee, every bad dream. Could I really just walk away from her? And if I stayed, could I look at her every day knowing she was the living proof of my wife's betrayal? James met me at a law office downtown at 8 a.m. The attorney, Patricia Webb, was everything he promised. Sharp eyes, no-nonsense attitude, a woman who'd seen every kind of family nightmare. She listened to my story without interrupting. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. Mr. Harrison, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Your situation is legally complex but emotionally straightforward. You've been deceived. Now we need to figure out what you want. I want the truth to matter, I said. The truth does matter. But in family court, what matters more is the child's best interest. You've been Sophie's father for 13 years. You're on the birth certificate. In the eyes of the law, you are her legal father regardless of biology. So Jennifer gets away with it? No one's getting away with anything. You have grounds for divorce based on adultery. You can fight for custody. But here's what you need to understand. If you tell Sophie the truth right now, in anger, it could backfire. Courts don't look kindly on parents who use paternity reveals as weapons. I felt trapped. Caged by my own love for a daughter who wasn't mine. What do you suggest? Patricia pulled out a legal pad. First, we document everything. The DNA results, your conversation with Derek, all communication with your wife. Second, you decide what kind of relationship you want with Sophie moving forward. Third, we file for divorce and negotiate custody. The truth about paternity can come out later, in a controlled way, possibly with a therapist present. And if I want to walk away completely? You can terminate your parental rights. But that's permanent, Marcus. No contact, no custody, no say in her life. And Sophie would know you chose to leave her. Is that what you want? I thought about Sophie's face. The way she'd run to hug me when I got home from work. Her excitement when I helped with her science projects. The pride in her eyes when she showed me her report cards. No, I whispered. But I don't know if I can look at her the same way. That's honest. And that's something you'll need to work through. But right now, you need to make some immediate decisions. Do you want temporary separation? Do you want Jennifer out of the house? What about Derek? Do you want a restraining order? The questions came too fast. My head was spinning. Then my phone rang. Sophie's school. Mr. Harrison? This is Principal Chin. I'm calling because Sophie's in my office. She's extremely upset and refusing to talk to anyone except you. Can you come down here? My heart dropped. What happened? Apparently some students were teasing her and she had an outburst. She threw a chair and locked herself in the bathroom. We finally got her to come to my office, but she won't explain what's wrong. She just keeps asking for you. I looked at James and Patricia. I have to go. Go, Patricia said. But Marcus, don't tell her anything yet. Not until we have a plan. I drove to the school breaking every speed limit. My mind raced with horrible possibilities. Did she somehow find out? Did someone tell her? When I walked into the principal's office, Sophie was curled up in a chair, her face red and puffy from crying. The moment she saw me, she launched herself into my arms. Dad, why didn't you come home last night? Where were you? I held her tight and despite everything, despite all the lies and betrayal, she still felt like my daughter. I'm here now, sweetheart. I'm here. What happened? Through broken sobs, the story came out. Some kids had been making jokes about DNA tests and family secrets because their parents had been doing them too. One boy said his dad found out his mom cheated. Another kid asked Sophie if her parents had done DNA tests and what secrets they might find. Sophie had panicked and lashed out. She knew. Maybe not the specifics, but on some level she knew something was wrong. Dad, are you and Mom getting divorced? She asked, her voice small and terrified. How do you answer that question when your world is burning down? Chapter 7. I took Sophie home. Jennifer was waiting in the driveway, her eyes wild with worry. When she saw us, she ran forward. Sophie, baby, are you okay? Sophie pulled away from her. Why is everyone acting so weird? What's going on? Jennifer looked at me, desperate. Marcus, please? We need to talk, I said. All three of us. Now. We sat in the living room. Sophie on the couch between us, looking back and forth like she was watching her parents become strangers. Someone tell me what's happening, Sophie demanded. At 13 she was old enough to sense when adults were hiding something big. Jennifer reached for her hand. Sophie let her, but I saw the hesitation. Your dad and I are having some problems, Jennifer started carefully. What kind of problems? Grown-up problems. Marriage problems. But no matter what happens between us, we both love you so much. Sophie turned to me. Dad. I looked at my daughter, because that's what she was, biology or not, and I made a choice. Sophie, your mom and I need some time apart to figure things out. I'm going to stay somewhere else for a little while. No. Sophie's voice cracked. No, you can't leave. You can't. She grabbed my arm, her nails digging in, and the fear in her eyes broke something in me. It's not forever, sweetheart. I just need some space to think. Is it because of me? Did I do something wrong? God, no. I pulled her close. None of this is your fault. You're perfect. You're my perfect girl. Jennifer was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. Sophie pulled back and looked at both of us. There's more. I know there's more. You're not just fighting about normal stuff. Smart kid. Too smart. Sophie, Jennifer began. Does Dad have a girlfriend? Do you have a boyfriend? Just tell me. No, honey, nothing like that, Jennifer said quickly. Sophie stood up, her fists clenched. Then what? What's so bad that Dad has to leave? The moment hung there, fragile as glass. I could tell her. I could end the lies right now. Watch Jennifer's careful web of deception burn. But Sophie's face, terrified, desperate, already breaking, stopped me. Your mom broke my trust, I said carefully. She did something that hurt me very badly, and I need time to figure out if I can forgive it. What did she do? That's between your mom and me. But I want you to know that whatever happens, it has nothing to do with you. You're loved. You're wanted. And you will always, always be my daughter. Sophie looked at Jennifer. Mom? What did you do? Jennifer couldn't speak. She just shook her head, crying harder. I hate this, Sophie said. I hate both of you right now. She ran upstairs. Her bedroom door slammed hard enough to shake the house. Jennifer and I sat in silence. Thank you, she finally whispered, for not telling her. I didn't do it for you. I did it for her. But Jennifer, we're done. You understand that, right? We're finished. I know, but Marcus, please, can we try counseling? Can we at least? There's nothing left to counsel. You had 13 years to tell me the truth. 13 years of chances, and you chose to lie every single time. I was scared. I was protecting our family. You were protecting yourself. I stood up. I'm going to pack some things. I'll be staying at James's place until I find an apartment. My lawyer will be in touch about divorce proceedings. What about custody? I want joint custody. Sophie needs stability, and despite everything, I'm still her father. And Derek? I turned to look at her. What about Derek? Are you going to tell Amanda? I hadn't even thought about that. Derek's wife, who'd been nothing but kind to me over the years, who had no idea her husband had betrayed her on their wedding night. That's Derek's problem, not mine. But if I were Amanda, I'd want to know. Jennifer's face went pale. Marcus, if you tell Amanda, it'll destroy their marriage too. Their kids. Their kids deserve parents who don't lie to them. Unlike what you gave Sophie. I went upstairs to pack. Sophie's door was closed, but I could hear her crying. Every sob felt like a knife in my chest. I knocked. Sophie? Can I come in? Go away. Please, baby. Just for a minute. The door opened. Sophie stood there, her face wrecked with tears, looking smaller than her 13 years. Are you leaving because you don't love us anymore? I knelt down to her level. I love you more than anything in this world. That will never, ever change. What's happening between me and your mom has nothing to do with my love for you. Then why can't you just forgive her? People make mistakes. If only she knew how big that mistake was. Some mistakes are harder to forgive than others. But I promise you, no matter what happens, you and I are okay. We're always going to be okay. She hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. Don't forget about me when you're gone. Impossible. You're stuck with me forever. When I left the house an hour later, bags packed, Jennifer stood at the door watching. She looked broken, hollowed out. I'm sorry, she said. I know it doesn't mean anything, but I'm so sorry. I didn't respond. I just got in my car and drove away. In my rearview mirror, I saw Sophie watching from her bedroom window. That image would haunt me for weeks. 2 days later, I met Derek at a coffee shop. He looked like he hadn't slept since our confrontation. Hollow eyes, rumpled clothes, hands shaking as he held his cup. Thanks for meeting me, he said. I didn't do it for you. I did it because I need answers. Real ones this time. Derek nodded. Whatever you want to know. Why did you get that DNA test 4 years ago? He stared into his coffee. Sophie was 9. She came over to our house for a playdate with my daughter Emma. They were playing dress up, and Emma found some old photos from my wedding. There was one of me and Jennifer dancing at the reception, and Emma said we looked like we were in love. And? It hit me then. What if that one night created Sophie? The timing was right. Jennifer and I had never talked about it after it happened. We just buried it. But seeing Sophie in my house looking at my wedding photos, I couldn't stop wondering. So you tested her without telling me. I told Jennifer I wanted to know for sure. She freaked out. Said we should leave it alone. But I couldn't. I needed to know if I had a daughter I'd been lying to for 9 years. His voice cracked. So I took one of Sophie's hairbrushes when I was at your house. Sent it to the lab anonymously along with my own sample. And when you found out? I wanted to tell you. I swear to God, Marcus, I wanted to come clean. But Jennifer begged me not to. She said you'd leave her, that Sophie would be devastated, that it would ruin everyone's lives. She convinced me that keeping the secret was the kindest thing to do. Kindest for who? For Sophie. She was 9 years old and happy. Why blow up her world? I wanted to throw my coffee in his face. You didn't keep quiet for Sophie. You kept quiet because you're a coward. You're right. I am a coward. I'm a cheater and a coward and a horrible friend. But Marcus, I need you to know, I never touched Jennifer again. That one night was it. I haven't so much as looked at her wrong in 13 years. Does Amanda know yet? His face went gray. No. I haven't figured out how to tell her. You mean you're hoping to keep hiding it? My marriage will end. My kids will hate me. Everything I've built will crumble. Good. Now you know how I feel. Derek's eyes filled with tears. Sophie's my daughter. Biologically, she's mine. Don't I have some right to be in her life? The rage that shot through me was white hot. You gave up that right the second you decided to lie for 13 years. You want to be her father? Then tell her the truth. Stand up in front of Sophie and say, I'm your real dad and I've been lying to you your whole life. See how that goes. She'd hate me. She's going to hate all of us eventually. When she finds out, and she will find out, she's going to feel betrayed by everyone. Her mother, you, me for not telling her sooner. So yeah, Derek, welcome to the nightmare you created. He put his head in his hands. What are you going to do? I'm divorcing Jennifer. I'm fighting for joint custody of Sophie. And eventually, when the time is right, I'm going to tell her the truth. She deserves that. Can I ask you something? Derek looked up at me. Do you still love her? Sophie, I mean. Did I? Could I still love a child who was the product of my wife's betrayal? I don't know anymore. I look at her and I see Jennifer's lies. I see your betrayal. I see 13 years of being made a fool. I stood up to leave. But yeah. Damn it, yeah, I still love her. And I hate myself for it. I walked out of that coffee shop and drove aimlessly for hours. Eventually, I ended up at the park where I used to take Sophie when she was little. The playground was empty, swings moving gently in the wind. I sat on a bench and let myself cry for the first time since this all started. Big, ugly, broken sobs that came from somewhere deep and raw. My phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. Hello? Mr. Harrison? This is Dr. Grace Chen. I'm a family therapist, and your attorney Patricia Webb contacted me. She thought you might benefit from talking to someone who specializes in these situations. What situations? Men who find out their entire life is a lie. Actually, yes. I work specifically with families dealing with paternity reveals and DNA surprises. I've seen dozens of cases like yours. I know how alone you must feel right now, but you're not. And there are paths forward even when it feels impossible. I almost hung up. But something in her voice, calm, understanding, like she'd seen this exact nightmare before, made me stay on the line. When can we meet? Dr. Chen's office was small and warm, filled with soft furniture and boxes of tissues. She was in her 50s, with kind eyes that had definitely seen some things. Tell me where you are emotionally right now, she said after I'd given her the basic story. Destroyed. Angry. Lost. I don't know who I am anymore. You're Marcus Harrison. You're a teacher, a brother, a man who's been deeply betrayed. The question isn't who you are, it's who you want to be moving forward. I want to be someone who doesn't feel like this. I want to go back to before I knew. That's not possible. So let's focus on what is possible. She leaned forward. Marcus, I need you to separate 3 things that are tangled together right now. Jennifer's betrayal, Derek's betrayal, and Sophie's existence. Can you do that? They're all connected. Sophie exists because of the betrayal. Sophie exists. Period. Yes, she came from an affair. But she didn't choose that. She didn't ask to be born into complicated circumstances. She's a 13-year-old girl who loves her dad. But I'm not her dad. Not really. You've been her dad for 13 years. You taught her to ride a bike. You scared away monsters under her bed. You helped with homework and showed up at soccer games. Biology doesn't erase those things. I shook my head. Everyone keeps saying that, but it matters. DNA matters. Truth matters. You're absolutely right. It does matter. But here's what I want you to consider. What matters more? The biology or the relationship you've built? I don't know anymore. Dr. Chen pulled out a folder. I want to show you something. These are letters written by adults who found out later in life that their father wasn't their biological father. Read a few. I took the folder. The letters were heartbreaking. People talking about how they felt when they learned the truth. Some felt betrayed by everyone. Some felt like their identity had been stolen. But several of them said the same thing. The man who raised them was still their real dad, biology or not. One letter stopped me cold. I was 17 when I found out. My parents had divorced when I was 12, and my dad had fought for custody of me even though he knew I wasn't his. When I learned the truth, I was furious. I felt like my whole life was fake. I refused to speak to either of my parents for 6 months. But eventually, I realized something. My biological father was just a sperm donor. My real dad was the man who chose to love me even when he had every reason to walk away. He didn't have to fight for me. He didn't have to keep being my father after the divorce. But he did. That's what made him my dad. I looked up at Dr. Chin. What happened to this kid? She's actually one of my success stories. She's 30 now, married, has her own kids. She's close with the man who raised her. They worked through it. Does she have a relationship with her biological father? No. He wanted nothing to do with her once the truth came out. Turned out he'd been denying it for years. Like Derek, hiding and hoping it would never surface. Marcus, I'm not going to tell you what to do. But I am going to ask you to think about something. In 10 years, when Sophie's 23, what relationship do you want with her? Do you want to be the dad who walked away because of DNA? Or do you want to be the dad who chose her, even when it was hard? What about Jennifer? Am I supposed to just forgive her? Absolutely not. Jennifer betrayed you terribly. That marriage is probably beyond repair, and you have every right to divorce her and move on. But your relationship with Jennifer and your relationship with Sophie are separate things. You can end one without destroying the other. For the first time since this nightmare began, something clicked. Sophie didn't betray me. Jennifer did. Derek did. But Sophie? She was as much a victim of their lies as I was. What do I do about telling her the truth? Eventually, yes, she should know. But not now. Not when everyone's emotions are running this high. Get through the divorce first. Establish your custody arrangement. Build a support system. Then, when things are more stable, you tell her with me or another therapist present. Let her process it with professional help. What if she hates me for keeping it from her? She might. But she'll hate you more if you tell her now in the middle of a crisis. Kids need stability, especially teenagers. Right now, she needs to know that you're not abandoning her. I left that session feeling like I could finally breathe. The path forward was still messy and painful, but at least I could see one. I called Sophie that night. Hey kiddo. How was school? Terrible. Everyone keeps asking me why you left. I told them to mind their own business, but... Her voice wavered. Dad, when are you coming home? I'm not coming back to the house, Sophie. Your mom and I are getting divorced. But that doesn't mean I'm leaving you. We're going to set up a schedule where you spend time with me at my new place and time with your mom at the house. I don't want 2 houses. I want our family back. I know, sweetheart. I know. But sometimes things break and we have to build something new. It won't be the same, but we're going to make it work. Do you promise? I promise. You're stuck with me, remember? She laughed a little through her tears. Okay. Love you, Dad. Love you too, Sophie. More than you'll ever know. When I hung up, I realized something. I'd called her Sophie. Not Derek's daughter. Not the affair baby. Just Sophie. My daughter. Maybe Dr. Chin was right. Maybe biology didn't have to be everything. 6 months later, I stood in my small apartment, straightening my tie. Sophie was in her room getting ready for her 8th grade graduation. She'd been splitting time between my place and Jennifer's house, and while it wasn't easy, we'd found a rhythm. Jennifer and I were officially divorced. She'd gotten the house. I'd gotten my dignity back. We were civil for Sophie's sake, but we barely spoke beyond logistics. Derek had eventually told Amanda everything. His marriage imploded. Amanda filed for divorce and moved back to her hometown with their 2 kids. Derek lost almost everything, which should have felt like justice, but mostly it just felt sad. Sophie still didn't know the full truth. Dr. Chin said we'd tell her soon, maybe over the summer when she had time to process without school stress. I was terrified, but I knew it had to happen. There was a knock on my door. Sophie emerged in her graduation dress, looking so grown up it hurt. How do I look? Beautiful. Just like always. She smiled, then hesitated. Dad? Can I ask you something? Anything. Whatever Mom did that made you leave, do you think you'll ever forgive her? I thought about that question carefully. Forgiveness is complicated, Sophie. What your mom did hurt me in ways that can't be fixed. But I don't hate her. She's your mother and she loves you. That's what matters. That's not really an answer. Smart kid. Still too smart. No, I don't think I'll forgive her. Not in the way you mean. But I'm working on letting go of the anger. For my own sake and for yours. Sophie nodded slowly. There's something else you're not telling me. About why you left. I can feel it. My heart stopped. Sophie. It's okay. I don't need to know right now. But someday will you tell me everything? The whole truth. Yes. When you're ready, I'll tell you everything. I promise. She hugged me tight. Thank you for not leaving me. Some of my friends' parents got divorced and their dads just disappeared. Thank you for staying. I'll always stay. You're my daughter, Sophie. Nothing changes that. We drove to the graduation ceremony. Jennifer was already there, sitting in the third row. When she saw us, she waved awkwardly. Sophie waved back and went to sit with her class. I sat down, leaving one seat between Jennifer and me. She looks happy, Jennifer said quietly. She's resilient. Kids are. Marcus, I know I've said this before, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything. I looked at her, this woman I'd loved for 15 years who'd broken me completely. I know you are. But sorry doesn't fix this. I know. The ceremony started. When Sophie walked across the stage to get her certificate, she looked into the audience and smiled at both of us. And for just a moment it felt like maybe we'd all survive this. After the ceremony, Sophie wanted ice cream. The three of us sat at a picnic table outside the shop, eating cones in awkward silence. Then Sophie said, I've been thinking about doing one of those DNA tests. You know, to see where we came from. Jennifer's face went white. I felt my stomach drop. Why? Jennifer asked too quickly. I don't know. Curiosity, I guess. Everyone at school is doing them. Sophie licked her ice cream, completely oblivious to the bomb she just dropped. Would that be okay? This was it. The moment Dr. Chin had warned me about. We could tell her the truth now, control the narrative, or we could let her find out on her own and deal with the fallout. I looked at Jennifer. She looked back at me terrified. Then I looked at Sophie, my daughter, because that's what she was, no matter what DNA said, and I made my choice. Actually, Sophie, there's something your mom and I need to talk to you about. Something important. Can we go home and sit down? All three of us. Sophie's smile faded. This is about the secret, isn't it? The thing you've been hiding? Yeah. It's time you knew the truth. Hey, if you're still with me after this journey, I want you to drop a comment below. Tell me what you think Marcus should say to Sophie. How would you handle this conversation? And if this story moved you, touched you, or made you think about your own life and relationships, please share your thoughts. I read every single comment and your words matter to me. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because stories like this, raw, real, and emotional, are what we're all about here. Sophie sat between us in Jennifer's living room, her hands folded in her lap, waiting. I took a deep breath. Sophie, when two people love each other and start a family, they hope they're building something on truth. But sometimes people make mistakes. Big mistakes. And those mistakes can change everything. Dad, you're scaring me. Jennifer reached for Sophie's hand. Sweetheart, before you were born, I made a terrible choice. I hurt your dad in a way that can't be undone. And that choice affects you too. What choice? I looked at Jennifer. She nodded. Sophie, I said carefully, you know I love you more than anything in this world, right? Yeah. Good. Because that's never going to change. Ever. But you need to know something about your biology, about where you came from. I paused, choosing my words carefully. I'm not your biological father. The words hung in the air like smoke. Sophie stared at me, her face blank with confusion. What? There was a DNA test. A real one before the one you were going to do. And it showed that genetically, I'm not your dad. But that's impossible. You're my dad. You've always been my dad. And I always will be, I said firmly. Biology doesn't change the fact that I raised you, loved you, and chose you every single day for 13 years. Sophie looked at Jennifer. Mom? Is this true? Jennifer was crying. Yes, baby. It's true. And I'm so sorry. Then who? Sophie's voice trailed off. Then her eyes went wide. Uncle Derek? The fact that she guessed it so quickly told me she'd probably wondered before, even if only subconsciously. Jennifer nodded. Sophie stood up so fast her chair fell backward. You slept with Uncle Derek? Dad's best friend? And you never told anyone? It was one time, one terrible mistake. 13 years ago. I'm 13 years old, Mom. Sophie's voice was rising, cracking. You've been lying to me my entire life. She turned to me. Did you know? Not until 6 months ago. When I found out, that's when I left. So that's the real reason you divorced? Not because of marriage problems or whatever lie you told me? Yes. Sophie backed away from both of us, her face twisted in betrayal. Does everyone know? Does the whole world know except me? No, I said. Just your mom, Derek, me, my brother James, and our therapist. No one else. Does Uncle Derek even care that I'm his kid? That question broke my heart. He knows. And it's complicated, Sophie. But he's not the one who's been your father. I have been. But you're not really my dad. Sophie shouted. You're just some guy who got tricked into raising someone else's kid. Sophie, don't say that, Jennifer started. Why not? It's true, isn't it? My whole life is a lie. Everything I thought I knew about myself is fake. You're not fake, I said, standing up. You're real. You're Sophie Harrison, and you're smart and funny and brave. None of that changes. Everything changes. Tears streamed down her face. I'm not who I thought I was. You're not who I thought you were. Mom's not who I thought she was. It's all ruined. She ran upstairs. We heard her door slam. Jennifer collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. She hates us. She hates me. She's hurt and confused. Dr. Chin said this would happen. She needs time. What if she never forgives me? Then you live with that. Like I'm living with it. I went upstairs and knocked on Sophie's door. Sophie? Can I come in? Go away. I'm not going away. I'm not leaving you even when it's hard. Even when you're angry. That's what fathers do. Silence. Then the lock clicked. I opened the door. Sophie sat on her bed, hugging a pillow, her face red and wet. I sat down next to her. I know you're angry. You have every right to be. I don't know what to feel. I'm mad at Mom. I'm mad at Uncle Derek. But I'm also. She looked at me with devastating vulnerability. Are you going to stop being my dad now that I know? Never. Not ever. Sophie, listen to me. When I found out the truth, I had a choice. I could have walked away. I could have decided that biology was all that mattered. But you know what I realized? You're my daughter because I chose you. Every day for 13 years I chose you. And I'm still choosing you. But don't you hate me? Don't I remind you of what Mom did? Sometimes, yeah. I won't lie to you. Sometimes I look at you and I remember the pain. But then I remember everything else. I remember teaching you to swim. Reading you bedtime stories. Watching you learn to ride a bike. All the real moments that made me your dad. That's stronger than DNA, Sophie. That's stronger than anything. She leaned against me crying. I don't want to call Uncle Derek my dad. I don't even want to see him. You don't have to. He made choices that hurt a lot of people. You don't owe him anything. Do I have to change my last name? No. You're Sophie Harrison. That's who you are. We sat there together as the sun went down. Eventually, Jennifer came upstairs with dinner. The three of us ate in Sophie's room, not talking much, just existing together in the wreckage. It wasn't okay. It wouldn't be okay for a long time. But we were together. And that was a start. 3 months later, Sophie started therapy with Dr. Chin. It was slow and painful, but she was working through it. She still had bad days where she'd rage at Jennifer or cry about her identity. But she also had good days where she'd laugh and joke and just be a teenager. Derek tried to reach out once. Sophie refused to see him. He sent a letter instead. Sophie read it, then burned it in the fireplace at my apartment. I don't need him, she told me. I already have a dad. Those words healed something in me I didn't know was still broken. As for me, I'm still working through it too. The betrayal doesn't hurt as much as it used to. The anger has faded into something quieter, acceptance maybe, or just exhaustion. I started dating again, which felt weird and scary. But I'm learning to trust slowly. Jennifer and I will never be friends. But we can be in the same room without destroying each other, which is progress. The life lesson I learned from all of this? Truth matters. It always matters. Lies, even ones told with good intentions, eventually destroy everything they touch. But here's the other lesson. Biology doesn't make a family. Choice does. Love does. Showing up every day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, that makes a family. Sophie's getting ready for high school now. She wants to be a lawyer, which makes sense given everything she's been through. She says she wants to help people who've been lied to get justice. Last week, she asked if I'd teach her to drive when she turns 15. Of course, I said. That's what dads do. She smiled. Yeah, that's what dads do. And in that moment, I knew we were going to be okay. Different, damaged, but okay. Because at the end of the day, I'm Marcus Harrison. I'm a teacher, a brother, a survivor of betrayal. And I'm Sophie's dad. That's who I chose to be. And that choice saved both of us.